Welcome to /PettyRevenge, where OP's cat ruins his mother's meal. Our next post is by Dog Kaki Doggy. I can't believe it lets you do this, but hey, it worked. I just had a pretty bad experience with a flooring installer. I'm in a small town in a non-Western country who just never showed up. I paid my deposit, so really it was a matter of how many times did I want to call him a day asking when he was going to show up. When he did come finally, he did nothing but complain about how hard this was going to be, etc. It was so annoying I asked him to leave his scraper tool so I could do it myself. He said he'd come to help me the following day, and of course he never did. He came again today after the usual 2 message "where are you?" except this time I let it be known this was the last time I was going to be so polite. I've wasted several days waiting on him, when he never told me he had no intention of ever coming. So anyways, he's taking forever, but my arms are too sore from the day before, so I can't continue. He goes outside and starts complaining about me to another worker about how annoying I am always asking when he's going to come by. I did him a favor, and cut him off, and let him know I can hear him, and his job is officially over, he's free to leave, and I want my money back. He didn't leave and tried bargaining, which is infuriating now that I think about it, because who TF does that? Talks shit and doesn't respect the homeowner. So, instead of leaving a nasty review, I noticed I could edit the listing on Google Maps. I changed their company to a public bathroom that's open 24 hours. Editing to add, it's been brought to my attention that this edit is only changing my Google Maps, which makes sense why it was so easy to change. So I claimed I was the company and wanted to make changes. Changed it to a public bathroom, open 24 hours, added a photo of a disgusting public toilet, and left it for the owners to deal with by sending a verification code to their email. It was surprisingly approved and I gained access even though my code hasn't been verified yet. Thanks to his shitty service, his business is headed straight down the crapper. Guess he won't be flush for cash for very long. Our next post is by 2CATS1 Human. So this isn't my revenge, it's my cat's revenge. Our cat needs to be close to someone, he always follows you, lays so he can see you, etc. So every meal he lays on a chair between me or my mom. But today, as many other days, he decides to jump up on the table. As every cat owner know, cat hair isn't nice in food. So my mom is a plant sprayer with water, so every time he jumps up and wants to taste or smell our food, she sprays him until he leaves the table and go back to his seat. But today he decided to, after getting sprayed, to get up on the table again, and sit with his, not so fresh but straight in my mom's plate full of vegetables. So it seems like cats also likes pretty revenge. I'm sure cats like petty revenge. I've had plenty of anecdotal evidence over the years. My husband and I have 2 female cats we adopted as kittens several months ago. Both are almost full grown now. We're also taking care of my sister's much older male cat, since she is currently living in a place which doesn't allow pets. I don't mind. I've always loved him, and I'll miss him a lot when she eventually reclaims him. He is also the most persistent of the 3, when it comes to jumping on the table when there's food there. We use an air duster can for that. All 3 of our fur babies know that can, so at this point all we have to do is show it to them, and they get down. Our next post is by an Android. This is a story of what I'm sure was meant to be petty revenge against me that backfired spectacularly. I used a pet sitting company last month that after I was back from my trip tried to get me to pay another almost £50, citing that they hadn't added the surcharge for bank holidays, and tried to guilt me into paying immediately or else they wouldn't be able to do payroll. The only problem with that is that they had already increased the price once before the visit for the exact same reason. When I questioned how it was possible, they broke the charges down, revealing that they were trying to charge me a higher daily cost that I had agreed to. I responded with the original invoice I'd signed detailing the cost, told them I didn't appreciate them trying to guilt me into overpaying, and that I considered this matter over. I then gave them a 3-star review on Google Trustpilot detailing this experience. I still gave them 3 stars, because after the exchange it seemed like they were just incompetent rather than malicious, and the cat sitter themselves was good. They saw the review, responded that it was completely unnecessary, and that it was all a big misunderstanding, and then sent me a couple of emails privately calling me rude things. I just screenshotted the emails, attached them to the review, and changed it down to 1 star. I can only assume they read this subreddit or something similar, as they decided to do what a lot of people have done here, and give my contact details out to random companies. The only difference is they didn't stick to mailing lists, they actually contacted companies using my details. They've tried to take out loans, applied for university courses, and made bookings for various things like gyms, tutors, and solicitors. In my country this constitutes as identity theft, and given that so far they've contacted 33 companies over the span of a week, is quite a severe case. And while companies may not record many details of how someone signs up for a newsletter, a lot of them, particularly the solicitors, capture a lot more about requests to their site. Like an IP address, which just so happens to be the same IP that was used to view my signed invoice on the same day the crime started. They're now being investigated by the Cybercrimes Division of my local police for the identity theft, as well as identity fraud, for trying to get loans opened in my name. So folks, when you're committing petty revenge, make sure you don't go overboard, and don't do it during business hours on the computer you use for work. How fucking stupid can someone be? I hope you posted that on every review site. Our next post is by WITTYCONFERENCE5512. My wife and I are getting a divorce. For the last few years, instead of playing the guess what the perfect gift for each other is for mother's or father's or birthday, we give the recipient $100. Last summer was her birthday before we split, and she got all mad and gave me back the $100 birthday present that same day, and said she didn't want it anymore. She wanted me to put more thought into my gifts to her. 4 months later we split. 4 months after that was Mother's Day. We have not spoken directly to each other since the split. Attorneys are in discovery right now. Mediation should start next month. For Mother's Day I regifted her the $100 birthday present she didn't want last summer. I would love to have seen her reaction to getting it. Okay, so, divorce is tough. I'm divorced myself. I'm also the daughter of parents who were petty and malicious AF while divorcing when I was 11 years old. As that child, I'm begging you to let go of this. Having divorced parents who are both petty jerks is miserable, even as an adult. Be the bigger person, and let it go. Set an example for your kids. Our next post is by PlaneINITIATIV8316. Hubby and I moved into a new house in 2018. When we were buying the house, we asked his brother and his sister and her husband to co-sign on our mortgage. In return, we said we'd take them on a cruise. In 2019 we were going to go on the cruise, but Bill couldn't get work off, and Sil got pregnant. Then there was a pandemic. During the pandemic we were made aware of some problematic dynamics between Sil, her husband, and their kids, so we filed a report with Child Protective Services. They're now, understandably, upset with us. However, our report was completely justified. Sil keeps telling us we owe her for intentionally messing with her, and every time we talk with her, it has been very infrequent, she tries to get us to give her money. She has also been doing things to sabotage my husband's company, and is systematically turning mutual friends against us. She now wants us to pay her the money we would have spent on a cruise for her. I'm not trying to change the terms of our initial agreement, but she's insistent that we have to do it to make amends. So now I'm shopping for a one-night cruise to nowhere. Absolutely the cheapest cruise I can find. She won't even be able to go, because she's not vaccinated, but hey, at least I will have followed through. Edit. The loan was paid off within 6 months of initiation. Details on the child abuse that was happening were left out due to group rules about felonious activity. Edit again. I don't want to get my post removed, but there was physical abuse towards my son and towards their own children. Also neglect. So far, in order to make restitution we've been told to get individual therapy, attend family therapy, pay for her to go to therapy, pay for the family therapy, give them cash equal to the cost of a cruise, etc. Every time we jump through one hoop there's something more she wants from us. She and my husband's other sister were working for my husband, and started up a competing business, and stole clients, and never serviced them, which cost us around $12K. She has threatened several other forms of retaliation as well. We tried several times to take them on the cruise before this all blew up, but they always had other things preventing them. Still, they literally can't cruise due to current guidelines. In all reality I'll probably just send them on a decent cruise, but I really want to just book them a one-night cruise to nowhere, with all 3 of them in the same stateroom. It may not be right to some people, but I agree with the sentiment. From your comments, any promise I make to you is null and void when you start laying hands on my kids. Any kids for that matter. Our next post is by Alpaca Tasty Picnic. 6 months ago, one of my good friends ghosted me. I'm not sure why, but suddenly my messages weren't getting replied to, and I didn't see him at Christmas. I was upset, but I had a few home life problems and tough circumstances all at once, and I didn't have the mental capacity to start chasing after someone. Anyway, today was the first time I'd even spotted my friend. He was at the bus stop outside his house, waiting for a bus. The bus that I knew was going to be at least 20 minutes away. I'd been in front of it way back along the road, and it had got stuck at some traffic lights, plus there was a huge queue of traffic. And I could tell by his body language that he was late for work and getting to panicking. One of the circumstances I'd been dealing with was taking my driving test. And I'd passed, despite my nerves, and being a mature learner, and bought myself a little car. A little car that I was currently driving past his house, and him, and was about to drive past his place of work, which is about 5 minutes walk away from my place of work. The good person would have stopped and offered him a lift. I was not a good person. I coasted past, singing along to my current favorite musical, and got to work in time to make myself a cup of coffee and some toast. I wonder how late he was. Would have been better if you beeped and waved. Our next post is by Ancient Educator 76. This also works as Artifu. I work for a fast food place, usually running the drive-thru. One evening I had a customer complain to me about the fact that he was shorted on his extra cheese last time, and wants to make sure he gets the cheese he paid for. Okay, cool, no problemo. Because I talked to the man, I went to the kitchen sandwich station and made sure that the person assembling the chili put extra cheese on top of the already cheese that comes with the chili. Whilst doing this, Ryan was running the sandwich station like a madman. Ryan's normally on the grill, so he seems flustered. Very flustered. He got mad at me for being in his way, as he elbowed past, through, and around me, all of this shit, and we only have one order in the queue. Okay, Spazzo, calm down. So anyway, he starts yelling at me that I need to get my fattest out of the way, and all I do is stand there. I replied to him in kind, oh, quit running around like a fucking crackhead, crackhead. You only have 2 sandwiches in the queue. Ryan gets pissed and leaves. Just leaves. I try to follow him out, and I said something like, look, you call me a fat ass, I've got a little mushroom dick, and I can't call a spade a spade. I guess he didn't take this apology well. He just said, fuck you, don't call me a crackhead, and took off on his blue bike. Later that evening, one of the drive-thru customers says there is someone riding around on a bike and getting in the way of the drive-thru. If I weren't so busy I'd look into it, but I didn't. I wish I would have. End of the night, empty parking lot except for my and my manager's car. I start her up, and instantly the alert for tire pressure comes on. I have 2 flats, both on the right side of the car. I get out and look, and sure enough, they're flat. If it was one flat, I'd have given Ryan the benefit of the doubt. If I didn't see one of the stem caps lying on the ground next to the flat tire, I would have given Ryan the benefit of the doubt. All I can do is wait. Both for my son to come bring me a portable pump, and for some petty-ass revenge. 3 days later I am finally on the same shift with Ryan, and I decide to outright accuse him, saying, dude, nice job on my tires, at least you didn't slash them. Then he was all FCK, you man, you deserved it. About mid-shift, an hour before Ryan's about to leave, I go out to my car, get the pump that my son brought and left with me from last time. I decide it's time for payback. I hook up the machine again, then hook it up to his rear tire. I fell for 1 second, TW bang. His tire is literally in pieces. I really wasn't intending on totally destroying his tire, just wanted to have them balloon up to a ridiculous size. I guess I don't know science. A tire for a tire. Everyone comes out to see what happened. I'm still getting up from the fallback my fat ass did, when this tire explodified everywhere. I yelled out, yeah, his tire looked a little low. Ryan was super pissed. Looks like I owe somebody a tire and a ride. But FCK that guy, seriously. TLDR, I popped a colleague's tire, because he deflated mine. Man, reading that was tiring. Q. Our next post is by Doneth. A few years ago I was in an abusive relationship with a guy much older than me. We were engaged, and the house we were in was really shitty, and we had decided to move. But when we were looking at our new place I realized how bad the situation was. The moment when I realized I wished desperately that I could live there without him. My aha moment. I had to get out. Well, at our old house, I had decorated the second bedroom with cheap Amazon wallpaper stickers in an intricate design up to the ceiling. They were on every wall, high and low. At least 70 or more of them. Well, I decided to leave him on moving day. So while he was at work, my sister came with a U-Haul and helped me get out, leaving behind all 70-something polka dots, solidly cemented to the walls, on the final day, before we had to be completely out. The best thing that came from that shit show of a relationship, the sweet feeling I get deep inside my salty bitch soul, when I think of him cursing to every higher power, chipping away at the polka dot wall stickers, stressed af, well into the early hours of the morning. And I live happily ever after in my own apartment near my family home. The end. I'm glad you left your spotty past. That was slash a PettyRevenge. If you like this content, consider subscribing because I post new Reddit videos every day.